G'day guys, Jaden here from Abraham's Fortune Wellness Center, sharing a little bit about where I'm at today. This is a series that I'm developing over the course of the next probably 4 months or so, with a little break in Christmas because, you know, come on, we're all going to see the family and I'll be traveling a little bit myself, which I'm really looking forward to. But this series specifically is going to be about the values here at Abraham's Fortune. We're going to touch on each of the 13 values specifically in a separate video, talk about why it's important to us as a company, and then how it can also be beneficial for you to consider these values in your own life and maybe adopt them in some sort of way, right? So the first value, it's a very important value. They're all important, but this one is important because we're doing a video on it today. It is, we have a high regard for discussions of viewpoints and connecting these topics back to a greater picture. Now, why that's important with us as a company: we are a small company at this stage. I mean, it's all relative, right? But compared to others, we are in that startup phase, and we do only have a small user base as well as a small employee base. But discussing our viewpoints is always going to be important, whether you're just two people having a discussion. You know, I'm here, well, I'm over here, I feel a bit different. No, well, this is what I feel. Discussing, or if it's 100 people, well, this is how I feel. Yeah, I agree with Frank. Well, I don't agree with Frank. I agree with Gary. It's always going to be important to create discussion, right? And the importance of linking it back to that greater picture, well, our greater picture with Abraham's Fortune, obviously our purpose here is to create unity through connection, right? So linking our discussions back to that identity, and you could do this yourself in your own life and say, well, what's most important to me in my life? You know, okay, my family, right? Well, when you're discussing things with your family, keeping that in mind, how easy is it to be like, come on, man, like, do your homework, or like, you know, Dad, you're not really listening to me how I want to be listened to. If you're someone that has a very high value for family, it can still be sometimes pretty easy to forget that in those moments when emotions rise up and you feel slighted, the ego comes out to play. You know, happens to us all, by the way, so no judgment. But in terms of our business setting, it can just as happen just as easily when we're sharing viewpoints. And so discussing those viewpoints, having a high regard for where someone's at, okay, but linking that back to the greater picture, which actually gives us the ability to have that high regard, is to say, well, our mission, our purpose here at Abraham's Fortune is to create unity through connection. And if we're not doing that as employees through our discussions, then we're not going to be able to do it with clients as well. So I guess what I'm trying to say is we try to start at our own doorstep, just something I recommend to you guys as well. Let us know what you thought of this value. Did it resonate? Have you got a similar value in mind already for how you approach things in either your business, maybe your personal life, or some sort of specific area that you approach during your experience here? Would love to hear from you, but until then, I look forward to chatting again next week about our next value. We'll see you then.